Long before present-day San Antonio, Texas was lined with buildings over 35 stories high, the Emily Morgan Hotel stood alone as the highest skyscraper west of the Mississippi for over 40 years. Built in 1924 by architect Ralph Cameron and developer J.M. Nix, the Emily Morgan stands 13 stories tall and was constructed in the New York Gothic Revival architecture, complete with gargoyles that peer down to the sidewalks below. Standing only 20 feet from the historic Alamo, the Emily Morgan served as a medical arts building from 1924 until 1976, when it was used as office space until 1984. After renovations, the Emily Morgan was once again ready to open up its doors to the general public, this time as a hotel. While serving as a medical arts building in the 1920s, the lower floors were reserved for doctors' offices, while the top floors functioned as a working hospital and surgical center. The 7th floor of the Emily Morgan was a psychiatric ward. The basement was used as the morgue. Rumor has it, the Emily Morgan's pool is lined with the stainless steel surgical tables once used by the medical arts building. As other public buildings have done in the past and continue to do to this day, the Emily Morgan's 13th floor has been renamed the 14th floor to distance itself from superstition. In fact, to eliminate any reference to the unlucky number 13, room 1408 was remodeled and split into 2 separate rooms. Now, room 1407 sits conveniently next to room 1409. Even after taking precautionary measures such as these, the Emily Morgan still holds the title as the 3rd most haunted hotel in the United States. Reports of the Emily Morgan being haunted go as far back as the early days as a medical arts building. The elevators of the Emily Morgan are said to be haunted as well, taking guests directly to the basement once the doors have closed is a common occurrence. The elevators also seem to disregard what floor a guest has chosen and arrive at a completely different floor. It is also common for the elevators to close their doors once a guest has stepped inside, trapping people for hours. The hotel's front desk often reports receiving phone calls late at night from the elevators themselves, though no guest has been inside of the elevator at the time of the call. The basement of the Emily Morgan was once used as the morgue while operating as a hospital and medical arts facility. It's not hard to imagine that area would have its fair share of uninvited guests. Today, employees who do venture into the basement have reported hearing voices and whispers. The air in that space is said to feel heavy and thick. The 12th floor of what was once the most advanced medical arts facilities in the country was the surgical and operation floor. The smell of alcohol and other medical chemicals is said to permeate the halls. Guests staying on the 12th floor are awoken from their sleep either by the bathroom faucet turning on or the maddening constant dripping sound that can never be located. Guests also report seeing flashes of light coming from the corners of the room, and the sound of an old operating table being pushed down the hallway. The crematorium was located on the 13th floor, now the 14th floor. This was the last stop for the unfortunate souls that passed away in the hospital, without family to claim their bodies when they died. If you stay on the 14th floor of the Emily Morgan, you may feel something brush up against you in the hallway or smell the heavy scent of a hospital when stepping off the elevators. Some have reported being nauseous from the smell, only to have it vanish in an instant. It is said that the most haunted floor of the Emily Morgan is the 7th floor. Back when the Gothic-style building was a medical arts facility, the 7th floor served as the hospital's psychiatric ward. Both guests and staff on the 7th floor have reported dark shapes and shadows that dart in and out of the hallways. A family visiting the Emily Morgan staying on the 7th floor described witnessing a full-bodied apparition that disappeared into a wall. According to staff, the 7th floor is also home to a mystery bride who sometimes gives out a chilling cry at night. It isn't hard to imagine a former psychiatric ward leaving a powerful paranormal imprint of itself behind. The Emily Morgan Hotel has been, and will be, a beautiful and interesting building in the heart of San Antonio. Though it has been confirmed haunted by myself and other paranormal investigators, I would definitely recommend a stay at this Gothic hotel. If you like this content and would like to see more, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. See you next time.